This little cheeky devil is giving me anxiety. Hi everyone, welcome back. It's the end of May and these two parcels just arrived. Unfortunately, I don't think I can make this video out within May, so they are all gonna go into a June haul. I'm also expecting another parcel in hopefully the next few weeks, so I'll try to get that into the June haul video as well. Anyway, it's like midnight right now and I've got work tomorrow, so let's just get this all opened up. The first set of parcels I have is something random. You can tell since the parcel shapes are so odd. This item is from Shopee, my local online shopping platform for cheap stuff which are usually made in China. I usually use this platform for things which I don't want to ship myself, especially when the item is really bulky, like what I have over here. Inside this long parcel, I have a tube of clear plastic sheet and it has a zipper on it. I'm not gonna bore you with how this is set up, but this is a tube storage. Specifically, a clear tube to store soft toys. I have a ton of plushies and they are collecting dust in my house. So to better protect them, I picked this up to throw them in. The tube which I got is almost 1.5 meters tall and it seems to be able to fit quite a bit of plushies in it. Well, I didn't really think this through, but it looks like it's gonna suck for the plushie at the bottom, eh? Okay, as for the main parcel in this haul, this is from Nin Nin game. I usually get figures from Nin Nin when there are figures with bonus items that I can't get anywhere else. Yes, figures like Kotobukiya figures which have ridiculously hard to get bonus heads. But before I get to that, here is the first item in the box. These are the minifigures of the One Piece Luffy vs Marines Megacats by Megahouse. To be honest, I have a whole bunch of these little things in my house and honestly, I don't know where to put them. I think I should stop getting more of these small little things. I'm bound to lose one of them one day. Anyway, there are 8 blind boxes in this set and in the first box, I have Kizaru. Here is the illustration of his kitty form as well as his kitty figure. Next is our main protagonist, Luffy, holding what I believe is a ship mast from the Marine Fort arc. Next is Akainu, and like all the other kitties, his outfit is quite detailed. Moving on is Kuzan, with his sleeping mask on his head. Followed by Smoker, and I'm still waiting for him to make a reappearance in the manga. Next, I have Sengoku, with an adorable seagull on his head. Moving on is Kobe, and I really love his character development in the manga. Last but not least, I have Garp. I kinda wish they gave him that doggy hat in this kitty form. And that's all the kitties I have in this set. This entire set of mini kitties of the Marines plus a Luffy are so adorable. I especially love the details of the coat the Marines have draped over them. For Luffy, it's also memorable that he is holding that shape mast, an iconic moment in the Marine Fort arc. Anyway, back to the parcel. The next item I got is a Nendoroid from the Overlord series. This is Nendoroid 631 of Ainz Ooal Gown, and I don't know if I butchered that name, but this Nendo was very expensive in the aftermarket. Thankfully, goodsmile did us good by re-releasing him. I did not want to find this old Nendoroid from the aftermarket because I've learned that it's better to wait for re-releases since Nendoroids tend to become sticky if kept in the box for too long. For this re-released Nendoroid, the box seems to be the same as the original box design. It's bigger than the recent Nendo boxes with circular windows on the sides. Also, from the photos on the box, it seems like this Nendo has a lot of accessories. A trait I kinda miss from the older Nendoroids from goodsmile. Opening up the box and taking out the blister package, there is a background sheet at the back of the inner box. Here is the set of instructions for this Nendoroid in English as well as Japanese. This Nendo comes with 2 blister packages. Inside the first blister package, I have the base and support for the background sheet, as well as 4 alternative skeletal hand parts. As for the next blister package, I have the Nendoroid of Ainz Ooal Gown, his staff, what I believe are his alternative skeletal eyes, and more alternative hand parts with his sleeves. And that's all the components that comes with this Nendoroid. It's quite a lot, yeah. For assembly, I plan to just set this Nendoroid up with his stuff to keep it simple. By the way, it's awesome that this guy can stand on his own. First up, I want to remove the hood that's on the Nendoroid's head since its ribbons are in the way. I also find that the paintwork on this hood is really neat. Look at that. With that hood out of the way, I can now replace his cape with the sleeves for his left and right hands. But before that, I need to remove the cape on the front first. It's a bit tight, so I have to be careful not to scratch it. These cape pieces are on the left and right, so I have to remove both in order to get the pose I want. On another note, his ribs are so nicely sculpted with that shiny orb at the center. Okay, next is to slot his sleeves into the holes. Now he is ready to grow some hands. I'm gonna use this piece for his right hand. It's kind of fragile looking, so I tried not to use too much force to push it in. Oh, by the way, the mechanism of his eyebrows are so interesting. See how his expression has changed. And here I kinda got distracted and decided to play with his faceplate a little bit. I find the joints on this thing so clever. The piece with his jaw can be pulled down, and it's such a perfectly fitting and smooth joint. Now I have a faceplate with his jaws literally dropped off. Okay, putting this back, I should continue attaching his other hand. For the left side, I'm going with the hand which holds his golden staff. The thumb is actually detachable, so the staff can slot into his hand. Although the thumb is a separate piece, the joint is not that obvious since it's a skeletal hand. With that done, I can slot this into his other sleeve, and it required quite a bit of nudging to finally get in. Last but not least, to reattach his hood. Those ribbons are supposed to be behind his hands, so I gotta adjust them a little bit. And that's it. Ainz Ooal Gown is now set up. Having seen this in person, I can understand why this guy is so expensive in the aftermarket. Firstly, a skeleton Nendo is so unique. The amount of details on this guy is amazing. The gold trimmings on his cape and hood are very neatly painted, as well as the rings on his skeletal hands. There are also very pretty red shiny orbs integrated in his ribs and horns. I love shiny things. The best part is how poseable his faceplate is. The jaw and eyebrows can be adjusted to achieve different expressions. It's just a very clever gimmick. Okay, back to the haul. Here is another small figure in the box, and one which I have been looking forward to for a long time. This is the Hoshina Look Up figure from Kaiju number 8. He was actually released last year in September, but since Nin Nin game only ships out orders after the last figure in the order is released, I'm only getting him now. Well, better late than never. The box design of this Look Up figure is the same as all the other Look Up figures I have. There are windows to peek into the box from the front, side, and top. Hoshina's color scheme is usually purple, hence the bottom of the box is also purple. Opening up the box, there is a single blister package, and here is the Hoshina Look Up figure with all the plastic protection at his neck joint. Removing that plastic sheet and putting his head back on, Hoshina is ready for display. I am so happy to finally have him. Although he is much simpler than the other Look Up figures I have, I feel that Megahouse has captured his character design very well. His bow haircut is so adorable with his cheeky face. The details on his battle suit are also well represented in this chibi form. Also, like the other Look Up figures, Hoshina's head is rotatable. Since this little guy can look up, he fits perfectly at the bottom of my shelf. Moving on, the last two items in this parcel are two scale figures, and Nin Nin game packaged them together. So yeah, I gotta cut one of them out first. The first figure is once again another Hoshina scale figure. I just had to. He was originally released in March earlier this year, so I've been really patient. I don't mind this for cheaper shipping. I got this Kotobukiya figure with his bonus head, which I'm glad Nin Nin game had and delivered. As for the box design, it is compact with windows on the front, side and top, and photos of the figures are nicely printed on it. The box doesn't feel cheap and is fairly sturdy, so that should protect the figure. Before I open the box, I'll take out the bonus headpiece first. This bonus head is of Hoshina without his face mask, exposing a serious smirk. Okay, now for the main figure box. Opening up the box and taking out the single blister package, Hoshina comes nicely protected in a lot of plastic sheets. He is already fixed to his base with his swords attached, so no assembly is required. Including the bonus headpiece which I got, here are all the components I have for this figure. This figure of Hoshina did not come with any instructions, and he's already attached to his base. So that makes assembly really easy for me. In fact, if you didn't get this figure without the bonus head which I got, there's pretty much no assembly required. Unfortunately, for those who wanted flexibility in photographing this figure, he's stuck to the base, so there's no flexibility. But I think it's alright for me. Anyway, I want to display this Hoshina with his alternative faceplate, so let me swap this out. Hoshina's headpiece fits quite tightly on his neck, so I had to slowly nudge it out. There is a plastic sheet at the joint which needs to be removed as well. Here is the default headpiece with the face mask on, and to be honest, this looks way cooler, so I think it's okay not to have the bonus head. But because I have the S-Fire Hoshina figure where the face mask is permanently on, I prefer to display this one without the face mask on. Hence, I'm gonna slot in the bonus headpiece instead, and it goes in quite easily. With that, I have the 1/8 scale figure of Hoshina Soshiro from Kaiju number 8 by Kotobukiya fully assembled. Once again, I think Kotobukiya nailed another figure. Although Hoshina has a simple character design, the amount of details captured on his battle suit makes this figure look really interesting. Also, although there are not much colors in this outfit design, the white and green portions are very well shaded. However, the black portions do lack quite a bit of shading. I mean, that's consistent for almost all figures that's dressed in black. But to make up for it, they did sculpt some really nice fabric folds in the battle suit. Anyway, enough of me admiring his body sculpt, let's look into the details starting off with his face. Since I'm displaying Hoshina with the alternative headpiece, I'm glad that Kotobukiya did a good job with the face. Although the design of his eyes are quite simple, there are quite a few companies which still can't get it right. Thankfully, Kotobukiya nailed it and he looks perfect no matter the angle. Even the eye decals of his opened eyes looks perfect and sharp. His smile is also very handsome. It's nice to see what's behind the mask. But I must admit, he looks way cooler with the mask on. That mask is sculpted in very great detail. Just like his bonus head, the default face also looks perfect no matter the angle you look at him from. I'm glad Kotobukiya nailed this. As for his hair sculpt, although he is only a 1/8 scale figure, it is fairly detailed. The individual strands are sculpted very neatly. There is also a nice shade of dark purple at the top, which transitions to black at the edges. Moving down, Hoshina's bodysuit is nicely sculpted with a ton of details, including the armor, buckles, and weapon holsters. The white and green portions have very nice shading, but the black color portion lacks shading. Oh wells, most figure companies don't do shading for black outfits after all. But to make up for it, the fabric folds on his suit is nicely sculpted. And that pouch. As for his holsters, there are some silver parts on it as well, and those have a nice metallic paint. Compared to the S-Fire figure of Hoshina, I would say the paintwork by Kotobukiya are much neater and has more shading. As for the base, Hoshina stands on some kind of damaged road terrain. The cracks in the road and white paint looks very realistic. And I love how slim the base is. It saves on space in my already full shelf. Hoshina's shoes are also very detailed with a nice amount of shading and indentations. The shading on the S-Fire figure is sadly not as intensive. That mini turbine detail on the back of his shoes also look very intricate and nicely sculpted. Last but not least, I find that Hoshina's pose looks really dynamic, and I feel that this choice of pose has really captured him in a really cool moment. So kudos to Kotobukiya for this. If I were to compare between the other figures of Hoshina I have, I think this would be my second favorite. Well, my favorite is still the S-Fire figure by Sega because that's the biggest one I have in terms of scale, as well as the body sculpt. But this Hoshina by Kotobukiya is also really well done. Although the muscles are not as defined, the bodysuit is still really well sculpted. Regardless, I am really happy that Kotobukiya gave me this option to display him without the face mask on, even though the bonus item is quite a hassle to get. After all, the S-Fire figure has his face mask on permanently and I don't have any alternative. Anyway, that's all I have to say for this figure, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, here is the last figure in this parcel. She is the 1/7 scale figure of Punish, illustrated by Anno and manufactured by Bellfine. Punish comes as a set with another figure called Guilty, but I don't have her yet since I ordered this on Nin Game with another figure that is released much later. So for now, my Punish has to stand in the shelf all alone. Here is the colorful box with photos and illustrations of the figure printed on. The box feels nice, but it's kind of flimsy, so it's hard to say if it will protect the figure well. Opening up the box, the inner flap of the box is a heart shape and that is so cute. Taking this figure out, there is only one blister package, and no, there are no instructions. Inside the blister package, I first have this base, followed by the figure with all the plastic protection. And here is Punish looking so adorable. And these are all the components that came with this figure. Now, to set her up. Just like Hoshina, this figure of Punish did not come with instructions as well. All I need to do is set her on the base, so that should be easy enough. However, I read on MFC that this base needs to be handled with extreme care. It's super fragile, so using too much force to slot this figure in could be very bad. So hopefully all goes well. Anyway, let me now take this figure out and set her on the base. Here is the figure's base with a hole on the top pillow. This is where the plastic pack on the figure slots into. I must admit, it's a bit of a struggle slotting this in. The joints are not perfect fitting and require a bit of nudging. At the same time, extra care is required to ensure I don't apply too much force that would snap the pillows off the purple base. So yes, it's a struggle. I didn't even get her completely in her base. You can still see part of the pack exposed. Anyway, I'm considering this 1/7 scale figure of Punish by Bellfine fully assembled, and I hope she doesn't fall off. Concept-wise, I find this figure really adorable. The combination of this lolly and demon girl is just a great mix, and the use of these pink pastel colors are just so aesthetic to me. Zooming into her face, I love her cheeky expression. Her eye decals are detailed, and the tongue sticking out is a nice touch. Although she looks fine from any angle, I feel that her best viewing angle is from here. In addition, that heart-shaped sunglasses on her head is nicely detailed, although I feel that the rims are kinda thick. That metal chain is real as well, and it's a nice detail. As for her hair, there is a shiny tint with dark blue strips. However, it doesn't have shading, so it kinda looks flat. I also feel that the color is kinda dull, so not what I was expecting considering what I see from the promo pictures. As for the hair sculpt, I would say it's decent, but the paint job of the blue strips appears sloppy at some areas. Moving down, I love the details and vibrant color scheme. There are speckles of candy shapes on the fluffy edges of her jacket, and the fabric folds are very nicely sculpted. Also, apparently this figure is cast off, but I'm not really sure about that. I didn't try, but I'm leaving her as she is. My biggest issue with this figure is that compared to the promo pictures, the outfit colors are once again too dull and lack shading. It's a bit disappointing to me. Her body sculpt also looks decent but lacks shading like the promo pictures as well. Also, the way the various straps overlay onto each other looks kinda unnatural. It's like they are cut off. On the back of her jacket, the seam line at the middle is also really awful. The white fluff also looks kinda dirty and dull. Lastly, although I get this is supposed to be how her tail flows, it looks very stiff. In fact, the version in the promo picture looks way nicer. Lastly, onto the base. It's nice that the base is not just some round disc. There are nicely detailed pillows with all sorts of accessories on it. The bottommost base is also shaped like a heart, although the material looks kinda cheap. For the accessories, the blue liquid bag looks really nice, but the text printed on it is kinda sloppy. There is also a pink bunny plush hanging onto the pole, and the plush lines are nicely done. It's also glossy, adding a different texture to this figure. I also quite like how her socks are sculpted, but the color is kinda dull. The paintwork on her shoes are also a little bit sloppy. Lastly, there are handcuffs hanging off the back, and although it's a nice detail, the chains are not hollowed out and that just looks cheap. Although Bellfine did a decent job in making such an eye-catching figure, I feel there are some areas where they could have improved on, especially for the base and how this figure goes into it. Firstly, on the point of how fragile I feel this base is. The little hard cushions, which this figure is standing on, only has a very small contact point with this purple base below. As such, as I slot this figure into the base, I felt that it could snap at any moment. To make things worse, I feel that the peg on the figure and the hole on the base does not fit perfectly together. Hence, I had to nudge her quite a bit to slot her into this fragile base. In fact, I feel that she's coming out of her base ever so slightly. It seems like the peg is getting more visible over time. Lastly, if you turn this figure to the back, I noticed that her twin tail is clashing with the support rod for this blood bag. I don't think that is supposed to be the case, since there could be potential paint transfer between the two components. So yeah, this figure doesn't really fit perfectly on the base. This little cheeky devil is giving me anxiety. And that's all for today's video. As much as I love the figure of Punish, I'm disappointed by the execution of the details by Bellfine. So I kinda predict the price of this figure falling in the aftermarket. So if you are interested in this set by Bellfine, it might be a good idea to wait it out. Let me know in the comments what you think. Despite the QC issues, I'm still keeping her since I just love the concept art. Anyway, in the end, the other parcel that I was expecting did not arrive by the time I finished editing this video, so I'm leaving that to another video. If you enjoyed what you saw, do leave a like and subscribe with notifications to stay tuned to more videos. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye bye!